Hey, friends. I share widely accessible supplement options in each podcast to help keep wellness practical and within reach, while also offering practitioner trusted recommendations through my full script dispensary for those who want an added level of quality, ingredient screening, and third party testing. You'll receive 10% off through my link plus free shipping on orders over $50. The full script link is available in the show notes or on my website, becomingnatural.com, so you can confidently choose what feels right for you. Do you ever wish your day wasn't dictated by your health? Are you tired of being tired all the time, or is pain holding you back from enjoying your time with your family? Would you like to manage your symptoms holistically, but you just don't know where to begin? I am so excited that you're here. This podcast will help you understand how natural remedies work so you can relieve your symptoms and live a fuller life. My name is Penny. I'm an occupational therapist, past pharmaceutical rep, a mom, and a wife with a strong faith, and for 25 years, I battled through debilitating Crohn's disease. I took all the medicine and did all the surgeries that stole so much time with my family, but never truly healed me. I finally realized if I was going to survive this disease, I needed to open my stubborn eyes to alternative solutions. I researched how perfectly our bodies work with plants and a lifestyle that made my health less of a burden to my family and aligned so beautifully with my faith and my medical training. If you're ready to reclaim your life with holistic options that are easy to implement as a busy mom and provide relief that lasts, this is the podcast for you. Hello, Becoming Natural fans. This is Penny Sampler, your host of Becoming Natural. Welcome to this week's podcast, episode 67, Toxin Binders Truth, 5 Detox Mistakes You Need to Avoid. Today, we're going to be talking about something you may have heard whispered about in our natural health space. It's called binders. It sounds very science labish, mysterious, maybe even a little wellness world intimidating. However, the idea behind a binder is actually quite simple. There's a time to use them and certainly a time that you shouldn't. But I hear a lot of people dropping the term lately, and I'm not sure that everyone really understands what a binder does. So I thought that I would talk about those today. But more importantly, what about understanding if a binder helped you to stop pushing your body too hard when it's already asking for a little bit of gentleness and a little bit of grace? Is a binder overdoing it for your body? Because around here in the Becoming Natural world, we don't chase wellness trends. We want to learn to listen to our body and the signals that it gives us through our symptoms. And sometimes the body speaks in symptoms long before it has to shout at us. So here we go. What is a binder? At its very simplest, a binder is a substance that you can take by mouth that attracts and traps toxins while inside the digestive tract so they can leave the body through your stool instead of being reabsorbed into your intestines. So think of it like a sponge traveling through your intestines, or maybe even a magnet. It's not glamorous, but it's very helpful in the right situation. So here's something that many people don't realize. Your liver is our God-given detox machine. We are created to detox, and people talk about detox this or detox that is coming very faddish, but not everyone needs a detox. Our liver is constantly processing toxins and sending them into the bile. Remember, we learned about bile in oregano podcast. I'm so glad we talked about that, which empties into our intestines. So without something to grab on to some of those compounds, some of them can actually be reabsorbed through the gut lining and then recirculate through the body. So the idea behind a binder is simply to grab it, to carry it out, and eliminate it into the toilet. It's actually a beautiful design. Our bodies are always working towards our protection. Isn't that amazing? If you think about it, our bodies are always trying to take care of us, always trying to protect us. It is, again, in our DNA. We're always going towards restoration, even when it doesn't feel like it. And always being the devil's advocate over here, if our liver is our detox machine, why do we need to do detoxes? Or why do we need to use binders? Because this detox fad, and it is, you have to be very Smart when you hear things about detoxes, but God designed your body with an incredible built in detox system with our liver that filters the blood, transforms those toxins into safer compounds, and it sends them out into the bile, like we said, so they can move into the intestines and leave your body. The kidneys filter your waste into your urine, your lungs release carbon dioxide, even your skin plays a small role by releasing your toxins and sweat. We have multiple points of getting rid of our toxins. And when one of those things break down, we know we get sick. So our body is not clueless. It's actually incredibly equipped. So most of the time, in a reasonably healthy person, you do not need an aggressive detox. The body is already doing that work every single minute and second of the day, whether you are asleep or awake, and you don't have to tell your body what to do. So sometimes, though, the load becomes heavier than the system can comfortably handle. Things like certain medications, environmental exposures, or mold, heavy metals, a long-term gut imbalance, or even chronic constipation is actually a very major issue. We should probably talk about that sometime. When toxins enter the intestines through the bile, some can actually be reabsorbed if they sit there too long. Scientists call this enterohepatic recirculation. So hepatic means liver. So enterohepatic recirculation. It just goes around and around, which is a fancy way of saying the body can accidentally recycle what it was actually trying to get rid of. That is where a binder may occasionally help, either alone or combined with a safe detox plan. So when that sponge or binder goes through the digestive tract, it grabs onto certain compounds. So they are more likely to leave the body instead of turning around and re-entering your circulation. But binders are not something most people need daily. They are tools. They are not lifestyle requirements. In fact, the healthiest detox plan for most people is far less dramatic than the internet makes it sound. Regular bowel movements, good hydration, adequate fiber, nutrient-dense food, sleep, and supporting your liver with enough protein and minerals. That is detox. Very ordinary things that create extraordinary stability inside of our body. So instead of asking, do I need a detox? A better question might be, is my body supported well enough to do exactly what it was designed to do? Because more often than not, our job is not to force a detox. It is to remove the obstacles so that the body can function the way God already engineered it to do. Your body is not failing you. Most of the time, it's actually asking you for support, not extremes. And learning that difference is where health starts to feel peaceful again. So why would someone use a binder? There's a few situations where binders have very real and well-established medical value. And understanding this helps us stay grounded instead of getting swept up in a trend that may be a waste of money or may not help us at all. For example, activated charcoal has been used in emergency medicine for decades. When someone ingests certain medications or toxic substances, charcoal can be given fairly quickly to help reduce how much of that substance enters the bloodstream. It works through a process called adsorption with a D, meaning toxins attach itself to the surface of that charcoal so they can move through the digestive tract and be eliminated instead of absorbed. That is not alternative medicine. That is not fringe. That is standard hospital care. Activated charcoal is not a universal binder, meaning it doesn't work to eliminate every bad thing in your body. It is most effective with many organic compounds, things like certain medications and chemical toxins, yet it does not reliably bind to metals or alcohols or highly corrosive substances like strong acids and bases. In other words, it is a very helpful tool when used in the right scenario, but it is not designed to capture everything. So despite what social media sometimes suggests, there is currently no strong scientific evidence supporting activated charcoal as routine, everyday detox supplement for otherwise healthy people. Your body already has an extraordinary detoxification system built in, primarily your liver, your kidneys, your digestive tract, your lungs, and even your skin. Those organs are working around the clock to filter, to transform, and to remove waste without us ever having to think about it. So we hold two truths at the same time. Activated charcoal has a legitimate, research-supported medical use, but it is not a cure-all and was never meant to function as a daily cleansing strategy. So learning to live comfortably inside that balance is part of wise stewardship of our bodies and of our health. We should always ask the better question than, is this good or bad? We should ask, when is this appropriate and when is it unnecessary? So health rarely comes from doing more. It's really amazing. More often, it comes from understanding what the body has already been designed to do and supporting it with thoughtful care instead of crazy urgency. So, in order to understand binders, you might have heard the word or term die off, and I've used it before too. It's also called the Herxheimer reaction. It's the same thing, Herxheimer. It happens when a large number of pathogens or toxins die quickly and release these toxins faster than the body can comfortably process them without having negative symptoms. So, common symptoms of the Herxheimer effect or die off is fatigue or headaches, muscle aches, digestive upset, flu like feelings. It's because your body is trying to get rid of these things and it's trying to get rid of them too fast. So, you just have to be aware of this. And that is what happened to me before I even knew what that word meant. So, not every symptom is a die off. Hear me there. Sometimes it is simply irritation. Sometimes it's dehydration. Sometimes it's slow digestion or the body saying, hey, this is too much, too fast. Fast is rarely the language of healing. And like I said, I learned that in my monumental exorcism that I refer to many years ago doing the Candida diet before I knew anything about anything. You can check that out. I think that was episode 4 or 5. There was 2 of them. And it was very much in the beginning and actually marked kind of the beginning of me learning how to treat my body better. God designed most restoration to happen slowly, like seeds growing underground where no one sees it happening, no one applauds. However, when you're in need of a safe and legitimate detox, there are different kinds of binders that you can take the step to use to attract those toxins released during the die-off and escort them right out of your bowels and into the toilet bowl. So the binder conversation that most people skip is using binders unnecessary. Using binders. So the binder conversation that most people skip, using binders unnecessarily can sometimes cause problems like constipation, dehydration, nutrient deficiencies, which is very much a red flag, stomach upset. There's a lot of symptoms if you use them unnecessarily. They should not be treated like a daily vitamin. And because a binder can attach to medications and even to nutrients, they are typically spaced several hours away from eating or taking any prescriptions or medication and supplement. Hydration is always, always very essential because they rely on water to help flush what they bind. So if someone starts a binder and suddenly feels worse, that is feedback. The body is incredibly honest. You need to determine if it's a situation of misuse or unnecessary use, or perhaps you're not drinking enough water and your digestive system is slowing down or something else based on your symptoms. You kind of have to listen and move forward with what you determine. So there are different types of binders. And different types of binders are used for different reasons. Not all binders behave the same way. Different ones have different preferences, so I should say, of what they like to attract, almost like they were each created with a specialty. Number 1, we've talked about it already, but activated charcoal is a strong absorber. Activated charcoal is known for its extraordinary ability to bind many medications and organic toxins while they're still inside of the digestive tract because of its extremely porous surface. Because of this, it has been trusted in emergency medicine, like I said, for decades as a rapid response tool after certain ingestions. However, strength does not mean it's good for everything or everyone. Charcoal does not reliably bind to what I said before, metals, alcohols, or corrosive substances, and it only works before those compounds have been absorbed into the bloodstream, which makes timing incredibly important. So when used appropriately and under guidance, it is generally considered safe for short-term use. That said, some people experience constipation, stomach discomfort, stomach burning, vomiting, or black stools, and it is typically avoided in individuals with slowed digestion or bowel obstruction. Activated charcoal is best viewed as precise situational tool rather than a daily wellness supplement. So while it can effectively bind unwanted compounds, it can also attach to your nutrients and medications, which is why many practitioners reserve it for very short-term targeted use instead of ongoing protocols of detox. The next one we've actually talked about before for our skin, and I love it when you can see how different things that we use in our world can be used for multiple purposes. But it is bentonite clay. It is a gentle mineral binder. And I talked about it earlier when we used it. Either you could put it in your bathtub or you can put it with some water or apple cider vinegar, and you can make a mask and it actually pulls out the toxins from your skin. However, in this situation, bentonite clay is naturally occurring volcanic ash. How about that? All over your face. That binds to toxins, including certain heavy metals, mold-related compounds, and environmental chemicals. Many practitioners consider it a steadier option when slower, more sustained binding support is desired. That said, gentle does not mean unlimited. Bentonite can still slow bowel motility if hydration and mineral intake are not adequate. So bentonite often works best when elimination is already moving well, i.e. you're having a daily poop. A binder should assist the body's exit pathways, not create more traffic in there. So you don't want to take it if you have sluggish bowels and you're not having regular bowel movements. The next one is chlorella, the nutrient-supported binder. I kind of like this one. Chlorella is a freshwater algae that is recognized for its ability to bind certain heavy metals while also providing vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and amino acids. So it has a dual role, which makes it really appealing to me, actually, in situations where someone may benefit from both binding support and nutritional replenishment. However, because chlorella is biologically active, some individuals, particularly those with a sensitive immune system, they may need to start slowly to assess their tolerance. But we always start low and slow, no matter what you're taking. Chlorella is often less about aggressive detox and more about supporting the clearing of your bowels, getting all that nasty stuff out of there. Another one that I have not taken before, admittedly, but I was very interested in this. It's called modified citrus pectin, basically the quiet overachiever. So modified citrus pectin is derived from citrus peels that have been made into smaller molecules, which allows them to circulate more easily through the digestive tract. Citrus has so many benefits. Oh my goodness, we could go on and on about that. But research suggests it may bind certain heavy metals and support a healthy inflammatory balance, and it is often well tolerated compared to those stronger binders. It also carries mild prebiotic properties, meaning it can help nourish beneficial gut bacteria while it's doing its work in your body, which is awesome. So many practitioners think that citrus pectin sits comfortably in the middle ground, effective enough to support detox pathways, yet gentle enough for longer use when appropriate. So the last one that I'm going to talk about, I know that many people have heard about, but it's a fiber-based binder, and it's kind of overlooked, but fiber may not sound very glamorous, and we hear about it often, and we didn't even know that it was a binder, but it plays one of the most important roles in toxin elimination. Soluble fibers such as psyllium, I'm sure you've heard of psyllium husk, can help trap waste products and escort them out through regular bowel movements. It supports eliminations and prevents toxins from lingering in the gut. Sometimes the most powerful detox support is actually consistent elimination. Just getting regular. You know where this is going, don't you? We're going to have to talk about poop soon. Your colon is vital to the process and your health. Without reliable motility, even the best binder cannot do its job well. Before reaching for stronger binders, it's often wise to ask a simpler question: is the gut moving daily and comfortably? Because detox is not just about binding, it is also about removing. The goal is not to find the strongest binder that you can find. The goal is to choose the one that best matches your body's current capacity. So after hearing all of this, a very natural question becomes, how do I know if a binder is appropriate for me? Instead of guessing or following internet protocols, it helps to look at the context. Binders are rarely about doing more for an already healthy body. More often, they're considered when the body is carrying a heavier than normal burden. Situations where practitioners may evaluate the need for binding support can include known toxin exposures, mold-related illness, certain heavy metal burdens, significant microbial die-off during treatment, That was me. Medication overload or periods of sluggish detoxification or sluggish bowels, significant digestive stagnation is the formal term. But notice the pattern. These are typically intentional clinical situations, not casual wellness decisions. Before adding a binder, it is wise to first ensure the body's exit routes are open. We've talked about this before because a binder should help carry things out, not trap them inside longer. The drainage system includes more than just the liver and the gut. The lymphatic system, that's also an episode back there I need to find. I'll link up with Aubrey from Radiant Wellness. It plays a quiet but essential role in moving waste out of our tissues. Unlike the circulatory system, it does not have a pump. It relies on movement, breathing, muscle contraction, and hydration to keep our fluid flowing. So when our lymphatic drainage is sluggish, the body can feel congested and inflamed, almost like a sink that's not draining. That makes so much sense to me. Imagine your sink not draining. That's how slow it is when your lymphatic system is not working properly. My bathroom sink is slow to drain at all times. And when that happens, I have to clean out the drain and then voila, everything goes through. It's the same as our body. This is why many practitioners focus first on supporting the body's natural detox pathways, encouraging regular bowel movements, consistent hydration, gentle movement, lymphatic drainage, just your overall drainage before ever layering a binder. Open your pathways first, then assist your body. Preparation protects the body far more than force ever will, because if someone jumps straight into an aggressive detox without this foundation, without those open pathways, they often feel worse, not because the body's failing, but because it's being asked to process faster than it comfortably can, or the body is actually reabsorbing what needs to be eliminated because it cannot get out, no matter how long you take or do whatever detox you're doing. If you find yourself wondering whether a binder belongs in your story, consider asking, am I responding to a true need, or am I reacting to wellness quote noise? Because binders are tools. They're very helpful tools when we use them thoughtfully and appropriately. But vibrant health is rarely built through aggressiveness. More often, it grows through steady, well-supported systems working exactly as they were designed to do. So, wisdom signs that your body might need slower support. If symptoms suddenly worsen, consider asking, did I start too aggressively? That's our whole low and slow thing. Is my gut moving daily? Am I having regular bowel movements? Or am I having too many daily bowel movements? Am I drinking enough water? Are my detox pathways supported? Did I fully make sure that my pathways were open before I started that detox? Because here's something fascinating. Binders can reduce inflammatory signaling in the gut by adsorbing that bacterial endotoxin. That's with the D. But if elimination is sluggish, i.e., you aren't pooping, these compounds can sit longer than they were intended, and they will cause greater issues. Before you ever consider a binder, make sure that you're having those regular bowel movements. You're sweating when you need to sweat. You might even get an appointment with my friend Aubrey to get some lymphatic drainage. Harken back to that episode on lymphatic drainage to make sure that those pathways are open. If you remember nothing else from today, remember this, that there is no prize for pushing through supplements that make your body miserable. Support should feel supportive, not punishing. So start low and go slow. Pay attention to your body. The body God designed is not fragile. It is communicative. It is talking to us. Symptoms are often guidance, not obstacles. It is so important for me to emphasize that wellness is often overmarketed and everything is sold as a universal win, but it's not. Not everything is for everyone. Detox is not for everyone. Binders are not for everyone. Wellness is not about chasing every fad and every tool and everything you see on social media. It is about learning which tools work for you and what your body needs, not what everybody else needs. We are all individuals and we all have different issues that we need supported. And you also need to know which tools don't work for you. So maybe you could benefit for a short-term use, but we should never feel like we need to supplement with anything forever. Our goal is simply to get our bodies back to where they can effectively take care of themselves without the need for pills and detoxes and all the things. More of anything is not better. Less is always best. You do not have to do everything. You just have to take the next wise step. If something in today's conversation spoke to your heart, consider sharing it with someone who may need that same encouragement. And if this podcast has been a steady voice in your week, leaving a rating or review is the kindest way that you can help reach more women. Thank you so much for being here, for spending part of your day with me, and for taking small, faithful steps towards living well. Keep becoming one small step at a time. I'm cheering you on. Have a good week. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you've enjoyed today's episode, hit that follow button, leave a 5-star review if you're so willing, and help spread the message of Becoming Natural by sharing it with a friend. Check out the resources in the show notes and join the email list to stay on top of all the latest and greatest happenings at Becoming Natural as we roll out exciting new things while we grow. Until next time, take those baby steps to a more natural life and always give yourself grace. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. See you next week.